All right, so today we're doing something a little different. Well, not really different for us, but different from, like actually going to a spa.
Right, we're not getting a massage today.
No, but we are diving deep into the world of massage therapy through a website, which is pretty cool, actually.
It is. It's amazing what you can learn about someone's approach just by looking at their online presence.
Exactly. And the website we're looking at today is for Marika Dussault, a massage therapist in Magog. Remember that question about finding a good therapist in that area?
I do, and this seems like a great place to start.
Totally. So her website is really well made, by the way. Very professional, but also welcoming.
First impressions matter.
For sure. And right off the bat, she highlights her experience been practicing since 2004.
That's a solid track record.
Yeah.
Shows dedication to the field.
And get this, she started out working on a cruise ship.
Wow, talk about a diverse clientele. That takes adaptability. What else?
She offers Swedish massage, shiatsu, fascia therapy, and polarity therapy, which is something I definitely want to dig into. She seems to have a wide range of techniques.
She does, although she mentions that she used to offer Reiki and chair massage, but no longer does.
Interesting. Any thoughts on why a therapist might stop offering certain services?
Well, it could be a number of things. Maybe she found those modalities weren't resonating with her as much, or perhaps she wanted to specialize in the areas she's most passionate about.
Makes sense, focusing on your strengths and all that. So let's start with the basics, like Swedish massage. Marika describes it as being adaptable for both relaxation and therapeutic needs.
That's pretty standard for Swedish massage.
Yeah,
It can be very versatile depending on the pressure and techniques used.
right. But here's where it gets interesting. She mentions using cupping for faster muscle release in the therapeutic approach.
Ah, cupping. It's become quite popular in recent years, hasn't it?
It has, and for good reason. I've tried it myself, and it can be incredibly effective for releasing muscle tension. For those who don't know, it involves these glass cups that create suction on the skin.
Exactly. That suction helps to draw out toxins, increase blood flow, and loosen up those tight muscles.
And then there's fascia therapy, which I'll admit I'm not as familiar with.
It's all about the fascia, which is this thin but strong connective tissue that surrounds our muscles and organs.
Okay, so like a web that holds everything together.
Exactly. And sometimes that web can get restricted, leading to pain, stiffness, even digestive issues. Fascia therapy aims to release those restrictions.
And Marika specifically mentions working with people who have digestion issues.
It's interesting that she highlights that, isn't it? Shows that she's attuned to the interconnectedness of the body and how fascial restrictions can manifest in different ways.
It's like she's thinking beyond just muscles. And get this, she even mentions that she starts fascia therapy without oil for a better grip.
That's a good sign. It suggests she's really paying attention to the details and adjusting her approach based on the specific needs of the tissue.
Okay, so we've covered Swedish and fascia therapy. Now let's talk about shiatsu. Marika seems pretty proud of the fact that she is one of the few therapists in Magog who offer it.
It's not as common as Swedish massage, but it's gaining popularity. Have you ever had shiatsu?
I haven't, but I've always been curious. How would you describe it?
Well, unlike Swedish massage, which is more about flowing strokes, shiatsu involves applying rhythmic pressure to specific points along the body's energy pathways. It's often done on a floor mat with the client fully clothed.
Interesting. So more about targeted pressure than long strokes.
Exactly. And it can be quite intense, especially if the therapist uses their elbows or knees to apply pressure.
Elbows and knees. Wow, okay. I'm starting to understand why it's not as universally loved as, say, a relaxing Swedish massage. Although I have to say, the idea of someone walking on my back with their feet does sound kind of intriguing.
Walking on the body.
Right.
Where did you hear that?
It's how Marika describes using her feet in shiatsu. She says it allows her to apply deeper pressure and access those hard-to-reach spots.
That's a very visual way to put it.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the unique approach of shiatsu. It's not just about relaxation, it's about releasing deep-seated tension and restoring balance to the body's energy system.
And speaking of energy work, we have to talk about polarity therapy, because her description of it is what really caught my eye.
What did she say about it?
She calls it a passive treatment that's surprisingly active, which I have to say sounds a little paradoxical.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it also makes you want to know more.
Exactly. So how would you explain polarity therapy in a nutshell?
Well, it's based on the idea that we have this vital life energy flowing through us. And when that flow is blocked or out of balance, it can lead to physical or emotional discomfort. Polarity therapy aims to restore that balance.
So it's kind of like Reiki in a way.
There are some similarities. Both are considered energy healing modalities, but they approach it from different angles.
I see. So how is polarity different?
Well, one key difference is that polarity therapy often incorporates the five elements, ether, air, fire, water, and earth, to understand and address energy imbalances.
The five elements. That's fascinating.
It is, and it speaks to the holistic nature of polarity therapy. It's not just about treating symptoms, it's about understanding the underlying energetic patterns that might be contributing to those symptoms.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. And it looks like Marika offers a personalized, multi-session option for polarity, with each week dedicated to a different element.
Now, that's interesting. It suggests that she sees polarity as more of a journey, a process of exploration and rebalancing, rather than a quick fix.
And it goes back to what we were saying earlier about her focus on personalization.
Exactly. She seems to really tailor her approach to each individual client.
Okay, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's go back to shiatsu for a second, because there was this one detail that really stood out to me, and it has to do with her description of that unique neck massage she does.
The one she calls the Tanuki technique.
Yeah.
Yes. I was hoping we'd get to that. What about it struck you?
Well, it's just such a specific detail, you know? Like, she could have just said neck massage, but instead, she highlights this particular technique that she learned from a shiatsu master in Quebec.
And it involves using a cloth to create passive movements and target specific muscles, right?
Yeah.
It sounds incredibly effective, especially for chronic neck pain, which, let's be honest, so many of us struggle with these days.
Totally. It's like she's found this niche within a niche, and she's passionate about sharing it with her clients.
Exactly. And it speaks to her commitment to ongoing learning and professional development. She's not content with just offering the basics. She's constantly seeking out new techniques and approaches to better serve her clients.
And that's something I really admire, you know, that dedication to constantly expanding her skill set and staying at the forefront of her field.
Okay, so we've talked about her approach to Swedish massage, fascia therapy, shiatsu, and even touched upon the fascinating world of polarity therapy. But there's one more thing I want to bring up, something that really stood out to me as we were going through her website.
What's that?
Her language. It's so playful.
Playful. In what way?
Well, like that whole walking on the body thing for shiatsu. It's not a phrase you typically find in a massage therapist's description of their work, but it's so evocative and memorable.
You're right. It's refreshing, actually. Like, she's not afraid to inject a little bit of her personality into her descriptions.
Exactly. It makes her feel more relatable, more human, like someone you'd actually want to have a conversation with. Which is so important, right? Building that rapport and trust is essential in any therapeutic relationship.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about her diverse techniques, her personalized approach, her commitment to continuing education, even her playful use of language. But there's one final detail I want to circle back to, something that speaks volumes about her professionalism.
I'm intrigued. What did you find?
Right at the end of her webpage, almost like a footnote, she states very clearly that any solicitation for sexual services will be reported.
Wow. I've never seen that on a massage therapist's website before.
Me neither. But it really struck me.
It's a bold move, for sure,
Yeah.
but also incredibly important.
Exactly. By addressing it head on, she's setting a clear boundary and creating a safe space for both herself and her clients.
Absolutely. It shows that she's taking her professional ethics seriously and prioritizing the well-being of everyone who walks through her door.
And that, to me, speaks volumes. It's one thing to have a beautifully designed website and a long list of impressive techniques, but it's another thing entirely to create a practice that's built on respect, integrity, and a genuine desire to help people heal.
Couldn't agree more. It's clear that Marika Dussault is the real deal. She's not just offering a service, she's creating an experience, one that's both therapeutic and empowering. And that's something truly special.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground here. From Swedish massage and shiatsu to the complexities of polarity and even her unique communication style, it's clear that Marika Dussault's approach to massage therapy is anything but ordinary.
It's been a fascinating deep dive into a world that's often overlooked. And we did it all through the lens of her website, which just goes to show how much we can learn from paying attention to the details, even in the digital age.
It's amazing what you can discover when you dig a little deeper, right?
Precisely. And speaking of discoveries, what stands out to you most about Marika's practice? What resonates with you on a personal level?
You know, what strikes me is her willingness to embrace both traditional and unconventional techniques, always with the goal of tailoring the experience to each individual. She doesn't shy away from incorporating cupping, using her feet in shiatsu, or exploring the energetic realm with polarity.
It suggests a practitioner who is deeply invested in finding the most effective approach for each person who walks through her door.
Exactly. It's like she's saying, this is about you, your body, and your unique needs, and that message is incredibly powerful.
It is, and it speaks to the importance of finding practitioners who resonate with our values and priorities, who see us as individuals, not just clients.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into Marika Dussault's world, I want to leave you with something to ponder. We've discussed her impressive range of techniques, her personalized approach, and even her refreshing honesty about professional boundaries. But there's one final detail that I found particularly intriguing.
Oh, and what's that?
Her decision to stop offering Reiki and chair massage. It wasn't something she dwelled on, almost like a footnote in her journey.
It is interesting, isn't it? Makes you wonder, what prompted that shift? Was it a matter of personal preference, a desire to specialize, or perhaps something else entirely?
It's a question worth considering. After all, every choice we make shapes our path, and this one speaks to Marika's evolution as a practitioner. Perhaps she discovered that her true passion lay in the modalities she continues to offer, those that allow her to connect with clients on a deeper level.
It's a good reminder that even seemingly small details can offer glimpses into someone's larger journey, their values, and their aspirations.
Beautifully said. It's a reminder that even a website can be a portal to a world of discovery if we're willing to look closely and ask the right questions.
Well said. Well said.
Well, this deep dive has definitely left me with a new appreciation for the artistry and intentionality behind massage therapy.
And perhaps a little bit of inspiration to explore further, whether it's trying a new modality ourselves or simply paying closer attention to those subtle details that often go unnoticed.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those questions coming.
Happy exploring.
And it's interesting, when she talks about what happens during a polarity session, she uses this phrase, it's kind of stuck with me. She says, just let go and observe.
Oh, I like that.
Right, like you're not just lying there, you're actively participating in the process by tuning into those subtle sensations.
Exactly. She's encouraging this internal awareness, noticing those subtle shifts in energy, the warmth, the tingling, maybe even some emotional releases,
Yeah, and she really emphasizes creating a safe space for that to happen.
which is so crucial when you're working with energy work, right? It can bring up a lot of stuff.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked about her techniques, her approach to personalization, her commitment to continuing education, that playful language she uses. But there's one last thing I want to bring up, and it's something that I found really, really impressive.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
It's a small detail, but it speaks volumes about her professionalism. Right at the end of her webpage, she states very clearly that any solicitation for sexual services will be reported.
Wow, I've honestly never seen that on a massage therapist's website before.
Me neither. But I have to say, it made me trust her even more.
I can see why. It's a clear boundary, and it shows that she's not afraid to address a potentially uncomfortable topic head on.
Exactly. And I think it speaks to her commitment to creating a safe and respectful space for both herself and her clients.
Absolutely. It's one thing to talk the talk, but she's walking the walk,
Yeah.
and that's what matters.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. From Swedish massage and shiatsu to the complexities of polarity and even her unique communication style, it's clear that Marika Dussault's approach to massage therapy is anything but ordinary.
It's been a fascinating deep dive into a world that's often overlooked. And we did it all through the lens of her website, which just goes to show how much we can learn from paying attention to details, even in the digital age.
It's amazing what you can discover when you dig a little deeper, right?
Precisely. And speaking of discoveries, what stands out to you most about Marika's practice? What resonates with you on a personal level?
You know, what strikes me is her willingness to embrace both traditional and unconventional techniques, always with the goal of tailoring the experience to each individual. She doesn't shy away from incorporating cupping, using her feet in shiatsu, or exploring the energetic realm with polarity. It suggests a practitioner who is deeply invested in finding the most effective approach for each person who walks through her door, not just applying a one-size-fits-all method.
That's a keen observation. She seems to view massage as a collaborative journey of healing and self-discovery, not just a passive treatment. And that personalized approach is evident in every detail we've uncovered, from her technique descriptions to her commitment to clear communication.
Exactly. It's like she's saying, this is about you, your body, and your unique needs. And that message is incredibly powerful, even through the screen.
It is. And it speaks to the importance of finding practitioners who resonate with our values and priorities, who see us as individuals, not just clients.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into Marika Dussault's world, I want to leave you with something to ponder. We've discussed her impressive range of techniques, her personalized approach, and even her refreshing honesty about professional boundaries. But there's one final detail that I found particularly intriguing: her decision to stop offering Reiki and chair massage.
That is interesting. What do you make of it?
Well, it wasn't something she dwelled on, almost like a footnote in her journey, but it makes you wonder, what prompted that shift in her practice? Was it a matter of personal preference, a desire to specialize in specific areas, or perhaps something else entirely?
It's a question worth considering. After all, every choice we make shapes our path. This one speaks to Marika's evolution as a practitioner. Perhaps she discovered that her true passion lay in the modalities she continues to offer, those that allow her to connect with clients on a deeper level and facilitate more profound transformations.
That's a really insightful way to look at it. It reminds us that even seemingly small details can offer glimpses into someone's larger journey, their values, and their aspirations. And in Marika's case, it seems her journey is one marked by continuous growth, exploration, and a deep commitment to the art of healing.
Beautifully said. It's a reminder that even a website can be a portal to a world of discovery if we're willing to look closely and ask the right questions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those deep dives going.
Happy exploring.
It's like she's constantly refining her craft, figuring out what works best for her and her client.
Exactly. And it reminds us that even seasoned practitioners are always learning and evolving.
Absolutely. Well, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much you can learn from just one website when you really take the time to explore it.
It's like a little window into someone's world, their passions, their values.
Exactly. And in this case, it's a world I'm definitely interested in learning more about.
Me too. All right, well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of Marika Dussault and her approach to massage therapy.
Until next time.
Keep those minds curious, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.